Every day, your thoughts are shaping the structure of your brain. Not in theory, not in a distant future. Right now, with every choice of attention you make. A wandering mind builds confusion. A focused mind builds strength. This is not merely concentration, it is transformation. Focus is the sharpest weapon you can carry. And when used with precision, it can cut away doubt, fear, and distraction. I am Shi Heng. In the Shaolin tradition, focus is not something you are born with. It is forged. Each moment you direct your mind with clarity, you are training the very architecture of your brain. In this journey together, I will show you how to do exactly that. You will learn why discipline and relaxation are not opposites, but allies. You will discover how resistance, discomfort, and even boredom can become the fuel for your growth. And you will see how small, consistent actions, sometimes no more than a single breath, can rewire the patterns that hold you back. Most people believe change begins with force. They try to push, to break, to overcome. But in the temple, we know the truth. Change begins with stillness, with observation, with a mind that does not run from itself. When you stay until the end, you will carry with you not just ideas, but living principles, tools you can use the moment this video ends. This is not a lesson you will hear often. Many speak of focus as a skill. Few understand it as the foundation of freedom itself. If you are ready to train your mind as carefully as a monk trains his body, then you are ready to begin. Welcome to Shaolin Mind. Subscribe now, and let us walk this path together. Strength does not arrive suddenly. It is built in silence, one breath, one movement, one thought at a time. In the Shaolin tradition, we do not separate the mind from the body. They are two sides of the same blade. Each must be sharpened for the other to cut through. When a student first comes to the temple, they are eager to learn techniques. They want to kick higher, punch faster, endure longer. But we begin not with speed, but with stillness. We ask them to hold a stance for minutes until their legs shake. In that trembling, they discover the mind's first lesson: the body stops when the mind surrenders. Repetition is the forge. Whether it is the motion of a fist or the quiet rhythm of breathing, every repetition leaves a mark, not only on your muscles, but on your neural pathways. Modern science calls this neuroplasticity. We simply call it training. The body learns patterns through movement. The mind learns patterns through attention. Both require the same thing: consistent, deliberate practice. I recall my own master standing before me as I trained, saying nothing for hours. Only when I faltered did he speak. Your body follows your mind. Strengthen one and the other will obey. At the time, I thought he meant to push my endurance. Later I understood he was shaping my ability to stay present, to remain with the task even when my thoughts wished to escape. Every squat, every form, every step becomes a meditation. The movement teaches the mind patience. The patience teaches the body discipline. In time, this unity grows so natural that even in stillness, your mind moves with the precision of a strike, and in motion, your thoughts remain as calm as a still pond. The present moment is the only ground that does not shift beneath your feet. Past and future are shadows, one already gone, the other not yet formed. In Shaolin practice, discipline begins here, in the space where your breath meets your awareness. Many seek mastery by chasing distant goals. They believe discipline is built by thinking always of the finish line. But the ancients knew a different truth. A mind anchored in the present moves with greater strength and precision than one scattered across time. When your attention is here, the strike is cleaner, the step is steadier, the breath is fuller. In the temple, simple tasks are never rushed. Carrying water, sweeping the courtyard, tying the sash of a rope, each becomes a training ground. It is not the task itself that matters, but the mind you bring to it. If your thoughts wander, your movements follow. If your attention holds, your actions deepen. One winter morning, a young student asked why the elders seemed content to repeat the same routines year after year. The answer was simple: because the routines were never the same. Each breath was fresh, each movement alive. To live fully in the present moment is to meet life as it is, without trying to bend it into what was or what might be. Discipline grows naturally from this way of living. It is not a chain you place upon yourself, but a quiet alignment between mind, body, and action. Self-awareness blooms in this stillness. You begin to notice the subtle rise of impatience, the flicker of distraction, the pull of old habits, and with noticing comes choice. In this state, the smallest act can hold the weight of a lifetime's training, and every moment becomes an opportunity to step deeper into mastery. A bow kept under constant tension will eventually crack. The same is true for the human spirit. In the path of mastery, strength is not forged through endless strain alone, but through a rhythm of effort and release. Rigorous training is the fire that shapes you. Mindful relaxation is the water that cools and preserves that shape. In the temple, days begin before the sun rises. Bodies are tested, minds are sharpened, limits are stretched. But when the training ends, silence follows. The courtyard empties, the air grows still, and the body is given space to breathe. This pause is not laziness, it is part of the training. Muscles repair in rest, the mind integrates in quiet. Without this balance, the fire burns too hot, and the very vessel you depend on begins to weaken. One elder once told a young disciple, "If you only push, you will lose the ability to stand still. If you cannot stand still, you cannot see clearly." It is in stillness that you sense the subtle lessons hidden in your practice. The shift of weight in a stance, the calm after exertion, the way your heartbeat settles, like ripples fading in a pond. Modern life often mistakes rest for idleness, but in ancient traditions, rest was deliberate. The farmer lets the field lie fallow, so the soil can renew its strength. The warrior sheathes the sword, so the edge does not dull from constant use. In the same way, mindful relaxation feeds the roots of discipline. Through this balance, growth becomes sustainable. Your body does not rebel, your mind does not fracture, and your spirit remains steady. You move forward, not in desperate bursts, but with the quiet, enduring strength that can last a lifetime. The greatest obstacles are not always found in the world around you. More often they rise quietly from within. A wandering thought, a sudden doubt, a subtle pull toward comfort. These are the forces that break your focus long before any external challenge can. In the training hall, there are no crowds, no noise, no urgent demands. Yet even in the stillness, the mind can be restless. It tells you the stance is too long, the repetition too many, the discomfort unnecessary. This is resistance, not from the body, but from the part of the mind that fears change. Long ago, a novice complained that the wooden post he struck each day was his greatest opponent. The master only smiled and said, "The post does not move, it is you who wish to stop." In that moment the student understood, the real battle was not against wood and grain, but against his own unwillingness to remain present. To master focus, you must first learn to see these inner patterns. Distraction often disguises itself as urgency, as the mind invents reasons to turn away from the task at hand. Resistance often wears the mask of reason, whispering that you have done enough, that the challenge is too great, that the time is better spent elsewhere. Discipline begins when you stay. Even as the impulse to leave grows stronger, it deepens when you observe that impulse without judgment, neither feeding it nor fleeing from it. In this quiet confrontation, the mind learns that not every thought is a command to obey. Over time, the distractions grow quieter, the resistance weaker. What remains is a steady presence, a mind no longer pulled by its own currents, but anchored in the clarity of its chosen path. Pain, discomfort, distraction, most seek to escape them. Yet in the ancient path, these are not barriers to be avoided, but doorways to be entered. Each holds a lesson that cannot be learned in comfort. During early training, the body aches, the breath burns, the mind longs for release. It is natural to resist, but the elders teach that within the ache lies strength, within the restlessness lies clarity. When you meet discomfort without turning away, you begin to see it for what it truly is, a signal that growth is unfolding. A story is told of a young monk, tasked with carrying buckets of water from the river up the steep temple stairs each day. At first the weight cut into his shoulders, and the climb stole his breath. He cursed the task in silence. But as the weeks passed, he noticed his legs grew stronger, his balance steadier, his mind quieter. The burden had not changed. Distraction too can be a teacher. When the mind drifts during practice, it reveals where your attention naturally flows, showing the hidden currents that pull you away from the present. To notice this is to know yourself more deeply. Pain sharpens awareness. Discomfort tests patience. Distraction uncovers the shape of your inner world. Together they strip away illusion and prepare the mind for stillness. The moment you stop seeing them as enemies, they become guides. On the path of mastery, these moments are not interruptions, they are the training itself. By walking through them instead of around them, you find that the very things you once tried to escape become the stones that pave your way forward. And each step across them leads to a mind unshaken, a spirit refined. Mindfulness is often pictured as sitting in stillness, eyes closed, breath slow, but in truth, it reaches far beyond the cushion. It is the art of choosing which thoughts to keep close, and which to let pass like clouds in a changing sky. In the quiet of the temple, the air is free from noise, yet the mind can still be loud. Thoughts rise without warning, memories, plans, judgments, worries. Not all deserve your attention. Some carry wisdom, others carry weight with no purpose. The skill lies in knowing the difference. An old teaching says, the mind is a guest house. Be careful who you invite to stay. If you welcome every thought without question, soon there is no room for peace. But when you learn to greet thoughts at the door, to bow to them without letting them take root, your inner space remains clear. A young disciple once asked how to stop unhelpful thoughts entirely. The answer was simple: you do not. The mind will always produce them, just as the sea will always produce waves. Mindfulness is not the stilling of the sea, it is the skill of sailing upon it without being capsized. In the modern world, distractions multiply, messages, noise and images fight for your attention, pulling your mind in countless directions. Without discernment, your focus is scattered, and your energy drained. With discernment, you choose where to place your awareness, and your life begins to follow that choice. This is mindfulness in motion, walking, working, speaking, while remaining aware of what enters and what leaves the mind. Over time, this practice becomes as natural as breathing, and in that clarity, you no longer feel at the mercy of every thought, but instead walk steadily, guided by the ones that truly matter. Many believe freedom means doing whatever you wish, whenever you wish. But on the path of mastery, freedom is born from something very different: clear limits, steady routines, and the discipline to hold to them. It is a paradox. The more intentional the constraints, the greater the freedom within. In the temple, each day follows the same rhythm: waking before dawn, training at set hours, eating in silence, resting at appointed times. To an outsider, it may seem rigid, even confining. Yet within these boundaries, the mind becomes lighter. Decisions that once scattered attention are no longer needed. Energy is no longer spent chasing every passing impulse. A story is told of a monk who was given a single stretch of land to cultivate. At first he lamented its size, dreaming of wider fields. But over time, he came to see that this small space allowed him to know every inch of soil, every change in the seasons, every rhythm of growth. Intending to less, he gained more. Routine creates a stable ground, where deeper work can take root. Limitations act as the frame that shapes your focus, keeping it from spilling into endless distraction. Just as a river flows strongest when guided by its banks, the mind finds its power when guided by structure. This does not mean living without choice. It means choosing with purpose, and allowing that choice to guide you day after day. Over time, the boundaries become invisible, and what remains is a life that moves with ease and clarity. In this way, constraint is not a cage but a vessel, one that holds and channels your energy until it becomes something far greater than scattered freedom could ever offer. Lasting change does not arrive in great leaps. It begins in the smallest of steps, so small they may seem invisible at first, yet in the way a drop of water shapes stone, these small acts carve deep paths in the mind over time. In the temple, a student is not given the most complex forms on the first day. They are taught to breathe, to walk slowly, to stand in stillness. These may seem simple, even too simple, to matter, but each is a seed, and a seed's power lies not in its size, but in what it grows into. A young disciple once asked why he was told to walk the same narrow path in the courtyard every morning. The master replied, "Each step is a message to your mind. This is the path I choose." The practice was not about the path itself, but the focus, awareness, and intention carried with each step. Daily breathwork teaches the mind to return to the present. Mindful walking teaches it to move with purpose. A simple routine teaches it to flow without scattering into countless distractions. These small acts may not seem like they are reshaping the brain, but they are. Science calls it rewiring. The old masters simply called it training. The beauty of starting small is that it removes the weight of expectation. You do not need to conquer the mountain in a day. You only need to take the next step with full attention. Over weeks, months, and years, these steps become a new way of moving through life. And when you look back, you will see that the small, steady acts you once thought too simple were the very ones that quietly transformed not only your habits, but the shape and strength of your mind. Some patterns are not learned in this lifetime alone. They are carried quietly from those who walk before you. The way you react under pressure, the fears that rise without reason, the ease or difficulty with which you focus, these may be echoes of generations past. In the old teachings, it is said that a person does not walk alone. They carry the footsteps of their ancestors within them. Modern science speaks of inherited tendencies in the mind and body. The ancients simply observed that certain ways of thinking, feeling, and acting repeat like seasons through a family line. A story is told of a young man who always lost heart when challenges grew heavy. One day, an elder asked about his grandfather, and the young man admitted he had been the same: quick to begin, slow to endure. Then you are not only training for yourself, the elder said, you are training for him, and for those who will come after you. This is where conscious focus becomes more than a personal skill. It becomes a way to break cycles. When you notice a pattern, you have the chance to meet it with awareness instead of habit. The inherited pull toward distraction can be met with steady breath. The reflex to withdraw in difficulty can be met with a single deliberate step forward. With each choice made in awareness, the grip of the old pattern loosens. Over time, a new path is laid, not only for your own mind, but for the generations that follow. To train your focus, then, is to train more than yourself. It is to offer a gift to those who will inherit your steps, just as you once inherited theirs, proving that the cycles of the past can be reshaped by the discipline of the present. Focus is a blade, but sensitivity is the hand that guides it. Without sensitivity, focus can cut in the wrong direction, chasing what is false or harmful. With it, the mind not only stays steady, it stays true. In the temple, students are taught not only to strike, but to listen to the breath of an opponent, to the shift of air in the room, to the quiet stirrings within themselves. Sensitivity is the ability to sense when something is out of balance, even before it becomes visible. This skill extends beyond the training hall. In the world beyond the walls, distractions are not always loud. Some come dressed as important messages, urgent news, or worthy pursuits. Sensitivity allows you to feel the subtle discord beneath them, the way they pull your energy, the way they unsettle your mind. An elder once told a tale of a farmer who could sense a storm long before clouds appeared. It was not magic. It was the quiet noticing of small changes, the smell in the air, the way the birds moved, the heaviness of the wind. In the same way, a disciplined mind can feel the approach of distraction, even before it takes hold. This awareness is not born from suspicion, but from presence. When you are deeply connected to your own inner rhythm, you can tell when something disrupts it. You may not know why at first, but the shift is felt, and that is enough to pause, to question, to choose your response instead of following the pull blindly. In this way, focus and sensitivity walk together. One keeps the mind steady, the other keeps it aligned. Together, they form a discipline that is not only strong, but also wise. True mastery is not built on extremes. A mind that is too tight will break. A mind too loose will drift. The art lies in holding both strength and softness, in being as steady as a mountain yet as yielding as water. In training, there is muscles engage, then release. The breath deepens, then softens. Attention sharpens, then widens. This alternation is not accidental. It is the natural pattern of growth. Just as a bow must flex to release an arrow, the mind must learn
to hold and to let go. There is a story of two warriors. One trained with relentless intensity, never allowing himself rest. The other moved through training with ease, never pushing beyond comfort. The first grew rigid, his movements heavy. The second remained light but lacked power. Only when they began to learn from each other did they find balance, strength that could adapt, lightness that could strike. A focused mind that is also relaxed does not waste energy. It directs it. It knows when to act with precision and when to yield with patience. Discipline gives it form, while flexibility allows it to meet each moment as it comes. Watchfulness, too, must be tempered. A mind always on guard can grow restless and suspicious. A calm mind sees more clearly. The calm is not the absence of awareness. It is awareness without tension. This balance is not reached once and held forever. It is something you return to again and again, like the breath. Each time you drift too far toward force, you soften. Each time you drift too far toward ease, you strengthen. In this way, balance becomes not a fixed point, but a living practice, a harmony that moves with you through every step of the path. Focus is not a single act, it is a way of living. Each breath you notice, each step you take with intention, each moment you choose awareness over distraction reshapes the mind in quiet, powerful ways. Through discipline guided by rest, strength tempered with sensitivity, and attention rooted in the present, you begin to create not only a sharper mind, but a calmer spirit. The teachings you've heard today are not meant to remain as ideas. They are tools. Use them in the simple moments, in the way you walk, the way you work, the way you meet challenges. Over time, these small acts weave themselves into who you are, until focus becomes as natural as breathing. Personal mastery is not won through force. It is grown through harmony, between body and mind, between action and stillness, between discipline and ease. When you live this balance, change is not something you chase. It becomes the shape of your life. May your mind be steady, your spirit light, and your steps grounded in the path you choose. If you found peace and clarity in these words, let them guide you forward. Like this video, share it with those walking their own path, and subscribe to Shaolin Mind for more teachings to strengthen both your focus and your heart.